But one last point. Why did I read from Matthew 25, verse 6? King James Version and most versions say that there were 5 wise virgins, 5 foolish virgins. They were all asleep. And then at midnight, a cry was made, "Behold, the bridegroom comes." And I think many Christians have assumed that midnight symbolizes the end of history. I can remember as a boy hearing a sermon, and the pastor brought a big clock. It was 7 minutes to 12. He said, "That's how close we are to the end." I understood that. And then I realized that the Greek says meses dou nuktos, meaning middle of night, when the church would be in a deep, deep sleep. Imagine yourself being awakened at 2 a.m. It's the last thing you want to hear. What we have here is a reenactment of a Middle Eastern wedding. I think the hearers of Jesus would have understood that better than we do. You see, in those days, a wedding did not take place in a church or a synagogue or in a lawyer's office. It would come when the groom would leave his home and go to the bride's home and bring her back to his home. That's the way the marriage ceremony took place. The problem was that it would last sometimes 2, 3, or 4 days, and nobody knew exactly when the bridegroom would appear. And sometimes, strange as it may seem, it would come in the middle of the night. Well, Jesus said in the last days, right at the end of Matthew 24, I think most everybody would agree Matthew 24 describes the last days. And then verse 1 of Matthew 25 says, "Then, at that time, the kingdom of heaven will be like 10 virgins, 5 wise, 5 foolish, and they were all asleep. And then in the middle of the night, there was a cry, 'Behold, the bridegroom comes, go out to meet him.' And everybody woke up and arose." And that is when the announcement came. And then later they went to the wedding, and then is when the second coming took place. Here's what many have not thought about. There was a gap in time between the cry, "Go out to meet him." It was a shout, this version says. Middle of the night. Go out to meet him. Many think that's when the second coming took place. No, it's when the church was awakened. The foolish said to the wise, "Give us of your oil, our lamps are going out." If the second coming had taken place, they couldn't have had that conversation. It would have happened. But there's a gap in time between the cry and the second coming. That is when this great awakening will take place. 5 foolish virgins, 5 wise virgins, and they were all asleep. Here's something very interesting. There are 3 main characters in this story. First of all, the foolish virgins, they were asleep. The wise virgins, they were asleep. But there's a third category. Those who are not asleep. And where are they in this story? The question is, who gives the cry in the middle of the night? Who's going to announce it? Is it going to be an angel? No. It's going to be people that are not asleep. So not everybody will be asleep. Wise, foolish virgins, asleep. What about those not asleep? And so I am saying tonight, I'm saying that something great is coming. There'll be a cry made, and it will be among those who are not asleep. And who do you suppose they are? Well, I can tell you, some of them will be you. Some of them will be you. There'll be no superstars in the next great awakening. With thanks to God for the Billy Grahams of this world and the Oral Roberts of this world. But what will happen is there'll be an awakening among the people. This Peter, who was so a coward, He said, I don't know the man. Jesus said, you will deny me. No, I won't, but he did. Weeks later, we're told in Acts chapter 4, verse 13, when they noticed the boldness of Peter and John and realized that they were uneducated and untrained men, they were amazed and they recognized that they had been with Jesus. Who will give the shout? It won't be the PhDs. It won't be people who have been to seminary. It'll be ordinary people that are given such boldness that they will astound everybody. They will be unafraid. And the qualification that they had been with Jesus. I believe that at any moment, there will be an awakening. And it will happen, I think, very simultaneously all over the world. For example, what was going on in South Africa in 1960, in England in 1960, the state of Washington in 1960. They didn't know about each other. It happened. And I believe there's a time coming. It's a date. There's nothing we can do to bring it. There's nothing we can do to stop it. But I think what will happen is that it will be people who have just been with Jesus. Maybe not even high school graduates. Those who just know their Bibles. Those who love the Lord. And God will bring those, and the whole world will be astounded. Smith Wigglesworth thought it would happen in England and spread to Europe. We can forgive him for that. He was a Brit. I'd like to think it'll happen in America. I'd like to think it would happen in Scottsdale. Amen. Or Dallas or New York or England. But it's coming. And the question is, are you ready for it?